Hi there, boys and girls. I hope you enjoyed the first part of Chapter 2. We're going to pick up with the rest of Chapter 2 now, and we'll finish it out for today. Chapter 2. When his mom called him to dinner, Alex headed downstairs. He'd finished his homework, which was pretty easy. Some long division, fractions, and a chapter on the American Revolution with only 4 study questions. But even though nothing put him in a good mood faster than easy homework, he couldn't shake the feeling that his plans for the greatest birthday ever were falling apart like a bad game of Jenga. He drifted into the living room, scuffing his feet along the carpet, headed for the worn Barcalounger next to the old gray sofa in front of the TV. As usual, he took the shortcut, stepping from arm to arm of the lounge chair and then vaulted over the back of the sofa. As he landed, he froze. He turned back, staring at the worn lounge chair, his dad's chair. Then it came to him. The way to get around his mom? Talk to Dad. Nunu and their mother were already sitting when Alex came in. He grabbed the back of his chair and dragged it out from under the table, like he'd been told 1,000 times not to, but never remembered. The legs made a loud honking noise as they scraped across the linoleum. His mother shot him a look. Uh-oh, he thought, don't jinx it. He stopped with the chair halfway out, then tried to squeeze noiselessly into his seat. The table shook. Milk splashed out of Nunu's glass. Rats. Sorry, he mumbled. His mom dabbed up the spill. Drink your milk, honey, she said to Nunu. Dinner was hot dogs, macaroni and cheese, and carrots. His mom had made his favorite meal, well, except for the carrots. This was a good sign. Where's Daddy? Nunu asked. They gave him an extra run, so he'll be home a little late. Another good sign. It gave him more time to plan his charm offense. Alex could feel his mom watching him. He was still sort of mad at her and didn't want to look her in the eye. But he knew he'd better straighten up and fly right if he had any chance of saving the greatest birthday ever. He took a huge bite of hot dog and turned to his mom with a big smile. Great dog. Don't talk with your mouth full, she said, but then she smiled. Alex could feel the tide turning in his favor. An hour later, Alex was sitting up in bed, English book propped in his lap, and a brand new plan taking shape in his brain. Plan A was to talk to his dad. But Alex figured you can never be too safe, so when he came back up to his room, he made a backup deal with the universe. If I stop thinking about dogs and do my homework, then I'll be rewarded with a dog. Alex was always making deals with the universe. In the morning, if I actually brush my teeth instead of just waving the brush around like a lightsaber, then Mom will have pancakes on this table. In 5th period, if I don't look at the clock for 5 minutes, class will end early. Once in a while, it worked. If I sit perfectly still, Jordan won't see me. And that was all Alex needed to make him believe. But even with Plan A in place and Plan B as backup, he couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't going to end well. Deep down, he knew what was really bugging him and why he was in such an up and down mood. His mother was right. It was his own fault he wasn't getting a dog. They'd made a straightforward deal, just like the ones he made with the universe. Improve your grades, and you can have a dog. But he dropped the ball, and now he had nobody to blame but himself, which made it even worse. Like when you stub your toe and you want to scream and yell at someone, but you can't because that someone is you. So here he was, on the eve of his birthday, trying not to think about dogs. He'd been staring at the same page for 5 minutes before he realized that the words were just a blur and that his mind had wandered back to dogs. He shook his head and tried to focus, but the harder he tried, the more he thought about dogs. It was impossible not to think of dogs, and it was driving him crazy. Daddy! Nunu's happy voice penetrated the thin walls. Come here, monkey, boomed his father. Alex sat up straight with his English book and forced a studious look on his face. They'd see he'd changed. They'd see he deserved a dog after all. They'd see right through him in a second. Who was he kidding? He was too little. It was too little, too late. His mood came crashing down again, and he shoved the book aside, turned off the light, and rolled over to face the wall, feeling sorry for himself. Maybe they'd feel sorry for him too? Lying in darkness, his back to the room, he pricked up his ears as a door opened with a click. A sliver of light spilled in from the hallway. Shh! Looks like he's asleep, his father's voice. No, he's not. He's faking it, said Nunu, riding on the father's shoulders. Alex clamped his eyes shut. He didn't need to see to know what was going on. It was the same routine every night. The pink sheets rustled as his father lowered Nunu into bed. Saying no, dear Daddy. Alex groaned and rolled over, putting a pillow over his head. I hate that stupid song, came his muffled voice. He sure is a grumpy Gus, said their father. Grumpy Alex, Nunu replied. Their father stroked Nunu's hair and began to sing. Alex tried to drown them out, but either the pillow wasn't thick enough or he knew their routine way too well. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never... No, dear, he knew it was coming, but Alex still winced as Nunu sang out her favorite line, just like she did every single solitary stupid night. As usual, she messed up the words. Most of the time, he didn't notice it anymore, but now it bugged him. Why does she get to mess up every night? And I don't, even as he thought it. He knew it wasn't the same thing, but it was the best he could do on such short notice. How much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Nunu snuggled down into her comforter. Alex heard her breathing slower as their dad stroked her hair, and she gradually drifted off to sleep. The bed creaked as his dad sat down beside him. For a long time, his father said nothing. Peering through the cracks under his pillow, Alex could see bits and pieces of his father. The heel of his left shoe, worn down so far it curved underneath. The light from the hallway reflecting off a shiny spot on his pants knee, where the crease in the fabric just seemed to disappear. 2 loose threads standing straight up off the cuff of his stark white shirt. Alex felt his father's hand land gently on his shoulder. Tower to A-Dog, come in, A-Dog. A-Dog maintained radio silence. Mom told me you went round and round. Everything okay at school? Under the pillow, Alex rolled his eyes. Who cares about school? School's important. It's not school. School's fine. Is this about the dog? Alex felt a flicker of hope. His dad knew how much this meant to him. He felt his breath and waited, afraid to say anything that might wreck his chances. His dad gently tugged the pillow down. Why do you want a dog so badly? 1,000 answers popped into Alex's head. He shrugged. You had a dog when you were growing up? His dad smiled. Good thought, Alex. Yeah, Rufus. What kind was he? More like what kind wasn't he? Not much to look at, but he was a great dog. I bet. He used to sit in the front window every day with a stick in his mouth and wait for me to come home from school to play fetch. Wow. They smiled together. How old were you when you got him? Alex asked. His dad looked at him in the eye. Old enough to take care of him? Alex collapsed inside. I can take care of a dog. Your dog has to be able to count on you. I know. Taking care of a dog is a big responsibility. Alex felt a surge of panic. It was all slipping away. I am responsible. I'm going to be 11, way into double digits. It's not just about age, Alex. It's about acting more grown up. Alex shot straight up. I am acting like a grown up. Then he flopped down and yanked the pillow back over his head. His dad tried to pat him on the shoulder, but Alex jerked away and rolled over to face the wall. His dad exhaled heavily and then rubbed his eyes and stood. If you loved me, you'd get me a dog, said Alex. His father paused at the door, his hand resting on the handle. I do love you, Alex. His dad waited. The silence seemed to stretch on endlessly. I hate you, came the quiet reply from the bed. Then Alex heard the door click shut. Wow. I don't know about you, but that probably wouldn't be a great way to end your conversation with your dad before you go to bed. Your dad just said he loved you, and you reply underneath your breath, I hate you. I don't know. We're going to see what happens tomorrow. Talk to you later.